Xbox, Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com. Oh, hello. DaddyDWALLY here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 47. And guys, I was just thinking about this today, just to open up the show. Instead of saying Xbox Record This like a robot, since I've always kind of said it like that, should I switch it to Xbox Record This? Like, how we would used to say it to the Connect, or Jose's
Absolutely
looking at
not.
me like,
Good God, son.
okay.
Why would you ever
All
do
right,
that?
joining me, as always, the assistant to the co-host. He said no right away. That's why I hired him. Chipotle Bear, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I was just telling the guys I'm a couple minutes late for recording because like 15 minutes before I was going to start setting up, this little tiny mouse, like I kid you not, it was this big, ran downstairs in front of my wife and she freaked out and she was like, "Penelope, where's the cat?
I'd
Go
freak
get the
out too.
cat." And so we tried to get the cat down, and then the dogs were being a jerk, and then Hank had it in his mouth, and so all this said, I had to run to Home Depot to get mouse traps because we didn't have any in the house. So I quickly got home. I threw peanut butter on them. I threw them downstairs, and I set up all my computer stuff. I am also recording in my kitchen tonight because my bar area where I usually record is under construction. So it's been a day. It's been a day, but I'm doing great. Happy to be here to talk about some video games, man.
Yeah, and he's also been putting in a lot of work on the Elden Ring. You guys have seen him up late at night, getting him
Yep.
plugging away. So he's getting there. He's almost.
I want to get to
he's
something
literally
else.
there. He's
So I got to get
literally
through.
at the end. By the way, Jose, I've noticed you are in a fuzzy Walmart connection, even being closer to your modems or wherever they are. I don't know what is going on with that EO system you've got over there. So joining us, as always, the assistant to the co-host. He's been yawning. I already counted 4 times already since he joined the room. Bubble Boy in 7. Are you going to make it?
I don't know, maybe. And my eye is super red and itchy. I don't know if our video viewers can see that. It's spring break ended a week ago, but we've been back from spring break for 3.5 years now. Feels like. So.
Is Cora been farting on your pillow again?
Ooh.
Of course,
That's what I was going to say. Grayson and all the kids got pink-eyed. I think it somehow transferred through my camera over to Chance.
No, but I finally beat Melania tonight. And so big shout out to myself because that was, I literally jumped up and cheered, and Ashley's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I'm not embarrassed. This is a fantastic moment in my manhood. So
did you beat the end boss already?
Not yet. No.
Okay, that was the only other. Well,
I still have him. And the Lord, I can never pronounce it, Placidusax.
Oh, the dragon.
Placidusax, the Dragon Lord. And then I'm not going to be able to get I think we already talked about this, I'm not going to get the armament achievement on the first playthrough, so pass that, and then yep.
All right, so guys, let's move straight into our favorite. It's back. So many shout-outs this week. After we were all sad and depressed since nobody wrote in, we got a lot of shout-outs to do this week. By the way, this is Xbox Record This, a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, in the good old days. If you're a listener, could you just rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? That'd be great. I think I'm the only one who did it for us, so that's why we have 1 5-star review. Moving on.
I've rated it
I'm just
on
kidding.
Apple. Okay, come on now.
I have not. I will
First, fired. Okay, first shout out, you guys. Remember when I told you about can't remember her name. What was the girl from Riverside?
Ooh, I gotta look it up because
Poland, I think was her name.
Picture again. Yeah.
Yes, Poland. We shouldn't say anything else, Chance, because she's probably listening to us right now. Shout out to Poland and Riverside staff. They said we are on their top 1% of recorders, and they're working hard to keep us on their platform. I got to say, I was sent a gift, and I saw a random FedEx package thing, and the address was from Israel. Now, I don't know if this came straight from Israel, because if this gift was sent all the way across the world, I think that's pretty cool. I actually think it probably was sent from some warehouse in Chicago, and then it says Israel in there for some reason. But Do you guys want to take it? Does anyone want to take a guess what the
Yeah.
gift from Riverside was? Go ahead, Bubble Boy. What do you think it is? I'm
Is
holding
it
it.
is it like recording related at all?
Yes.
Okay, because I had two different ideas, and if it wasn't, I hadn't. Okay. Um,
Here, I'll give you the dimensions. Oh, let me see. Let me put this. Okay, yeah. So I'd say it's about 6 inches long and about. Oh, that's pretty much thicker. This is probably about. Yeah, this is probably about inch two, maybe inch and a half to 2 inches thick. The box. Okay, so pretty good stats if you ask me. I'd be proud. That's
That
the
was the whole
box.
box.
We're talking about the box size, you guys. If I wasn't clear about that.
Was it?
Any
okay, I'm
guesses?
gonna go with a microphone stand.
Oh,
Of like a swivel
okay.
stand thing.
Okay. And Jose?
I'm gonna go with like a braided cable, like a really nice gold plated one.
Excellent. Excellent guess as well. I'm going to have to give this one to Bubba Boy for the victory. So this is it, you guys. It is a tripod. It is a little mini tripod for your camera. And I have to admit, I was like, oh, that's nice. What am I going to use this for? But then it hit me. Guys, what do I stream live every Wednesday night from my phone?
OGBB.
Old man basketball, where you
Exactly.
are hacking and
Oh,
slashing
man.
every
We'll get to that
dude
too.
that, bless their heart, tries to go hard in the paint, and Dan is just
Yep.
wailing on
I'm
them.
like
I
the
saw
old
the
Detroit
video. You heard it
Pistons.
first. Yep.
So yeah. So at first I was like, oh, well, actually I already bought a little tripod just like this and I use it for the games. But my dad randomly, he's my probably only viewer for OGB actually. He loves watching the games, by the way. He always shouts out, he's like, that was so much fun to watch. I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. Shout out to my dad. He said, but could you get the tripod a little higher? And I'm like, Dad, it's only like a 4 inch, this one, you guys, look at this. Watch this action. Look at this. I
Snap.
think this is a
Grower, not
solid.
and a shower. I love it.
Yes, this is like a 2 foot high tripod. So shout out to Riverside. Are we gonna stick with you or go to Zencaster? I don't know, but I'm telling you, this nice little tripod.
Ain't got no swag from Zencaster yet.
Well, they did retweet one of our tweets. So thank you again. What was her name? Pauline, was that correct?
Pauline.
Pauline.
Yeah.
Pauline. Thank you all the way. She's out in Israel. Shout out to Pauline from Riverside. I'm sure you're watching us since we're in your top 1% of recordings. Thank you for the kind gift. And we'll talk about that here in a second because we are going to be due on some fees, you guys. So maybe we should start up that Patreon.
Patreon. Just say the word, man. I'm on it.
Moving on, next shout out. And this goes to Jay Bizzle, and he wrote on our YouTube. And yes, he did write it twice because he thought we missed it. He writes his top 5 burgers, and he starts off banned right away. He said, Burger King is trash. ... For the ellipsis, Jay Bizzle, just 3 dots. Okay, let's not get crazy. Moving on. Number 5, Wendy's Double. Number 5. Number 4, McDonald's Quarter Pounder. Number 3, and this one, if I had to do a revision, it's too late. I already wrote it down. I would have Freddy's Double on there. Freddy's sauce, you guys, delicious. Might be the best sauce in all of the burgers.
That's got to be one of the upcoming ones. Sauces. That's got to be a good
Ooh,
upcoming
good.
top
Yep,
5.
okay. Number 2, In-N-Out Double, still one of the best. Also, I believe Jay Bill, isn't he from Arizona or something? Didn't he grow up with In-N-Out, or am I thinking of someone else? Or I think I'm right, Jay Biz. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then number 1, he has the Cookout Double Burger, native to the East Coast. If any of you guys come out to visit, this will be stop number 1. Truly the best fast food burger I've ever tasted. And that's saying something because I know he's an In-N-Out simp. So if that's number 1, it must be good. Also, if you need a guest host for episode 50, I feel like I would round the episode out nicely since I guested on number 25. Just saying, Elden Ring for life. Thank you, Jay Bizzle, for writing that comment. We appreciate it. Your burger selections, okay, but I don't like me and my brother, and apparently, and maybe Miggy, are the only ones who appreciate Burger King. I can't stand this slander anymore. The Whopper is delicious, and we'll get more into that later on the best food we had this week. And the next shout out, which these boys don't know about, because I got this from Cordy Morgs. Cordy Morgs wrote to us at our Xbox Record this email. Where can people write to us, Jose?
That would be xboxrecordthis@gmail.com or on all social media. Our DMs are open. Hit us up.
Correct. And Court Siegel writes Elden Ring nerf as the topic. The thing that would be most frustrating about a weapon being nerfed is the valuable stones you would use to level it up. I know at some point they are purchasable, but I've used most of my stones upgrading my starting Vagabond Basic Boy sword. Thank you for writing in, Cordy Mugs. You're right, that would be the worst thing, but they kind of give you a lot. And by the time I could do anything really to level it up to those higher numbers, I had plenty for lots of weapons. So I think that's exaggerated as well. And you know what, Court? You'll be fine with your starting weapon. I used my basic Uji katana all the way up until maybe the last few bosses. So it's no big deal, Cordy Morgs. Congrats. Update us, please, on your Elden Ring journey. So, guys, that has been all of the shout outs. And now we need to get into the real opener for this week before we get into the real opener. Bubble Boy, we left the audience hanging on your food adventure.
No, I deleted that. I
noticed that. I was like, I thought I had this in the show notes as number
No.
1. And
No, I deleted
okay, so he's embarrassed, you guys. We won't share it, but basically my wife, I won't even say it because I know it's just going to anger him. Movie.
Because it was a very traumatic experience, and it wasn't gas. So
Bubble Boy, I think the audience
don't
would
know
be
how that's funny.
there for you and empathize for you. Are you sure you don't
Yeah.
want to share with them?
Quite sure.
Okay, moving on. Jose, why don't you read us the warm-up / opener for this week? Thanks to Bubble Boy and Seven.
Absolutely. So while it may not seem like a good old days topic yet because of the old piece of that, Chance thinks that we can all agree that the world of memes and GIFs has received such a massive...
Jose, I got to interrupt you right there.
It's not GIFs. We're moving on.
GIF.
And
he just passed away.
In the arm.
He just passed away. The man who created the GIF. Put some respect on his name and say it right for this time.
The world of GIFs has received a massive shot in the arm thanks to Elden Ring. What are your top 5 favorite Elden Ring memes or GIFs? You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to start on this one because I don't think I could name 5 of them, and I know you guys really can. Because I've been too busy doing construction and trying to just beat the game to worry about the memes. But the one that I will give a shout out today was the one that Pony shouted in or put in the chat. I literally laughed out loud, where it's basically a picture of a bedroom and it's got the the Elden Ring yellow and black mist that before a boss fight, and it basically says when you texted your girlfriend you'd be right there to watch a show and you forgot because you're playing Elden Ring 6 hours later. I thought that was hilarious because the time in Elden Ring just gets sucked away. I sit down at 9 o'clock and okay, sweet, I'm gonna get so much done, and before I know it, it's midnight and I've beat one dungeon. So I just thought that one was hilarious. And having a wife who we all do, not just my wife, but where we have shows that we watch and we have to be together, and she's waiting. I fully resonated. And then the other one that I just thought was hilarious was it was actually of the scene of Caelid, right, where you can see the whole thing sprawling out, and they wrote Cleveland at the bottom instead of Caelid. I thought that was hilarious. Just poor Cleveland getting a bad rap, but that made me laugh out loud. So those are my top 2. I'm going to pass back to you guys for the rest of these because you got some good ones on here for sure.
Bubble Boy, let's hear your top 5 Elden Ring memes. You are muted, Bubble Boy. You are muted.
I totally screwed up because I forgot to download them all, so that's what I was doing here at the last second. But I have them all here now ready. And coming in, of course, Jose, coming in at number 5, there is the Cleveland Caelid GIF is definitely the right way to say it right there.
Well, that's just a picture.
At a strong number 4. Meme, yeah. A strong number 4 is the one where it shows the guy with the broken PS5 controller.
Oh, it just fell apart.
The reason is because I had to text it to Eric, and I was like, the Xbox Elite Wireless 2 controller wouldn't have broke if it had been smashed like
Very
that.
true. Indestructible.
And then you can't not have a Simpsons one. I don't know. This one probably isn't the best one, but it's my favorite for some reason. Just Homer looking dumb, right? And of course, it's happened 17 times at work where I'll say, do you just say the word Elden Ring and somebody else will hear it that you never knew was even a game? Yeah. And they're just like, wait, yeah, where are you at? Where are you at? What build are you? And then this one has a bad word on it. Daniel. I don't know where we stand on that.
As long as you don't say it, I don't care.
Okay, so this one I absolutely love. It's the one where the young lady
Oh,
is
yeah.
saying to her boy toy, please pleasure me. I'm very in the mood, and he's saying, but I'm already getting fuku'd over here, and he's playing Elden Ring. So I know I butchered that, but then of course the number one, probably the greatest thing to ever happen to GIFs and memes, Randy from South Park, and it's the old when someone that has the intelligence build versus Randy being the old strength build and just getting destroyed all the time. So
I didn't hear no bow.
yeah, that yeah.
Correct.
It's just you can't beat that one.
Excellent.
Randy. You can't not laugh at Randy.
Yeah, excellent choices there, Bubble Boy. For some reason, I thought I took a screenshot of my number 5. So number 5, I have the Chargers. I was about to say San Diego. Oh my gosh, I'm still sucked into that. That's because they always beat the San Diego Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers posted on their, I think it was Twitter or Instagram. They said the AFC, and it was that similar picture of Khaled, which is completely true. The AFC is ridiculous.
See you, Tyreek.
Truly, well, thank God, truly terrifying. And then I liked the other one where it was the exploring Limgrave versus exploring Khaled. And as you can see, when you're exploring Limgrave, it's, what is that movie? Is that what movie is that, Jose?
Sound of Music.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
Khaled down there is just those terrifying images. And it's so true when you go over there. It's just absolutely horrific. And then my next one was Adam Driver, of course. I couldn't remember Kylo Ren's name. He's an excellent actor. Have you guys seen this movie, by the way? A Marriage Story?
No.
Oh, don't. It's very depressing. But basically, he's in this scene, for context, he's arguing with Scarlett Johansson, and it's like this.
That doesn't happen
super
in marriage.
depressing, sad scene where basically they're just telling each other they don't love each other and like what they do. And he's like, every day I wake up and I have no effing clue where to go. And he's banging on the door and it says, does not open from this side. Banging another one, locked by some contraption. He's grabbing his head and it says, sealed by the great Lord's power. And it's so true where you're in those dungeons or other places where you're at these doors and you're like, oh gosh, I can't go through any of them. I got to go walk around and hit a switch. By the way, that one, did you do that one chance where you had to the world kept flipping and you had to go in a certain order to get to the switch? Otherwise the layout of the play, oh my gosh, it was like a maze. Yes, you had to go through specific portals in the treasure chests in order for certain things to change to get through it. I immediately thought of you because I was like, Chance would have dug this one a lot.
Nope. No, I would not. Ugh.
The next one I have, and this one's up there for me because before the Mimic tier was nerfed, this is hilarious. And it says, this is trade offer. I receive 660 hit points and you receive, and it just says enemy felled, because that's what the trade you make to get the Mimic tier. And the Mimic tier was beast and OP and would kill everything. And then my next one, this was my original number 1, but we'll talk about the real number 1 after this, was this one cracks me up. And I don't know, do you guys get this one with Homer? And it says Radon Festival.
Is it because of all the people
summon all
that
your
you
people? Yeah.
Yes,
summon?
and the ghost that Homer has behind him, and he's standing in front all stoic, like this is the final battle against Radon, and you have to summon all your friends to come help you. I love that one. Shout out to Pony for sending that one. But like Jose said, the one that had me cracking up and I was just bursting out laughing. It says, going back to my bedroom from playing Elden Ring after noticing a text from my girlfriend asking me if I wanted to watch a show with her, sent 6 hours ago. And that's the iconic enemy door before you.
Which if you for some reason are listening and don't play Elden Ring, what that means is as you walk through that door, your ass about to be grass.
50
You're about
times.
to. That was the door right before a serious boss, and Kaka was gonna go down. And I texted to the boys like, "Yeah, it sounds like when I was like, hey, I'm kind of bored. Do you want to come fool around?" And I was like, "What?" And it would be like 8 hours later after playing Elden Ring. So, shout out to all the wonderful memes we got. It truly has been amazing, and it's kind of crazy how much. The only other game I can think of this being like this literally was Skyrim because there are so many memes from Skyrim, and
Yeah.
and that was gosh before memes were really a giant running joke.
Oh, and
What
YouTube,
it is
YouTube
exactly.
probably gets to continue existing. Not that it was struggling before, but like my goodness,
Yeah,
now.
pretty. It's the social impact of this game is pretty amazing, and I loved it. So we'll talk more about Elden Ring a little bit later. So guys, let's jump into Xbox and gaming related news. Let's start with story number one. And this came from the GDC conference. I believe it was a video, and it's from Microsoft titled "Empowering Game Creators in Everything We Do." And it says, here's the description on the YouTube page. It says the world of video games is changing. Today, 3 billion people on the planet play games. From Antarctica to the Vatican City, people are playing everything from Wordle to Halo, online and offline, with friends and alone. But how people play, the devices they use, the way they interact, and their preferred gameplay models are evolving. Game developers are meeting the moment, even in the face of incredible new challenges like remote work and distributed development. The complexity of operating GAAS and addressing diverse and the diverse interests of a global audience. Join this fireside chat where Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond discuss these industry trends and more. Guys, did you get a chance to watch all of it or watch some segments of it? Jose, Bubble Boy, what about, okay, Bubble Boy, I guess we'll just hear what you say. So I just want to say it's a really interesting video, and I think it's definitely worth your 22 minutes whenever you get the chance. I found it really interesting, and it's really nice, Jose. I found to hear Sarah and Phil just basically talking, and I like how I can't remember. I think it might have been on Defining Duke today, or yeah, they're saying how like they're clearly grooming Sarah Bond to be the next Phil Spencer, and I think that is
That's rad.
true. Yeah, and it is very cool, and she does have a passion. I follow her on Twitter, and she tweets about some of the gaming stuff that she's into, and it is very cool to see another gamer potentially going to be the next head of Xbox, and it looks like it's going to be in good hands. But Jose, why I'm going to read the original quotes I kind of just pulled off, and then why don't you tell me some other things that stood out to you? All right. So the first one I said was that I just liked what Sarah said. She said, "This is Sarah Bond. Gaming really is the only media form where you can walk in somebody else's shoes and experience something. The ability to have a shared experience, and a big word for Chance that he's trying to teach me, even though I think I'm very empathetic, empathy."
He's absolutely right.
And yes, and so Jose, Chance, any thoughts on just that initial quote? And that's like at the very beginning of the video. Jose, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so one quick thing, one aside, in all fairness, for someone who's going to watch the thing, for literally the first like maybe 15 seconds, I was kind of a little like it felt a little contrived, like it wasn't, but the way that it starts, maybe it's just the tone, like it almost seemed like it was very pre-planned, and I know to some degree, obviously it is, like they wouldn't just literally be like, all right, talk about whatever you want. The way that they describe stuff, it's very focused, but the first couple of seconds almost sound like they were reading from a script, but there's just no way they could have, the way they did that conversation. But anyway, the conversation itself was really, really awesome. And I noticed that quote too when they were talking about it, that the gaming industry is really flourishing right now. And not that there are other industries aren't. Music is still doing great, movies are doing great, TV shows, obviously, but a lot of those other industries are trying to mimic what is happening in gaming. And I think for something that's for so long was kind of seen as like the little baby brother of the industries, like, oh yeah, video games, whatever, that's for nerds and that kind of stuff. It's really, that has changed. It's changed in terms of the people that play games, in terms of age, in terms of diversity, in terms of ability. Like, it's really grown. The other thing that I thought was just really cool in their conversation was just that Phil Spencer and Sarah talked a lot about, we believe as a company philosophically that we have learned so much through the process of making games over time. Like we've learned mistakes that you made. We've learned how to make things better. And Phil specifically said, we want to share that with the world. We want to tell like up and coming developers, don't make these mistakes. Or like, hey, you want to build on our platform, here are the APIs. And it actually made me think back to when we were watching the Powered On series, how they were really trying to be very open about what they were doing, because they said, look, developing for Sony can be very challenging. We don't want that for Xbox. We want it to like, everything is in here. We want lots of documentation. We want it to be as easy as possible for you to just, if you have an idea, build that idea and make it a reality. And I think that some of those philosophical tenets from history are still showing through in today's hierarchy and leadership. And I think that's incredible. I just, that piece I thought was really, really cool for the beginning.
And Bubble Boy, what do you think about where he said where you walk in somebody else's shoes and experience something? And I was just thinking right when Jose was talking, like I can think of a couple games where I was playing as a character who I have no experience with and I have no idea what it's like. Like I was thinking of Life is Strange. There's our two girls
Yeah,
who
that's a
share
good
like
one.
an intimate moment,
Yeah.
and then also what's the one where you come back to the house and you think it's haunted and you learn about
Edith Finch
no,
or
well,
Gone Home.
Gone Home, another film where I would have never, or film, walking simulator video game that like those you can watch things in movies and like feel like you're experiencing it, but it's completely different when you're actually playing and making decisions and seeing it from literally their perspective as you're going through the game. So tell me what you thought about the quote.
Yeah. I hear you, and I think it's certainly probably my favorite medium. But I disagree that it's the only one that you can feel empathy with. Like that's people have incredible experiences with movies or with TV shows or with books,
Agreed.
and have learned empathy through things like that, and definitely have a shared experience, right? Because you can be like, I get it that Thor got fat. I got fat once too, right? Like, or seeing Iron Man at his worst and vulnerable and stuff like that. I think video games definitely have an upper hand on that in the ability, but they also don't always deliver on it, which neither do movies or TV shows or books. But I don't know. I don't necessarily think that that's true.
And then let's move on.
I hate to start out like that, yeah, on such a downer.
No, it's okay.
And it's a fantastic sentence. Like
Yeah.
I loved that. That's what she wrote. I just is gaming really the only medium? No. Is it probably
Maybe the most
like the most
impactful.
unique?
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I mean, it's subjective, but maybe unique is a better word. You're right. I really like the quote. That's all. Let's move on. And then I said it about 16:30. And I don't know if you caught something before this, Jose, but we can come back to you. Phil Spencer on Game Pass, and I'm going to talk about the tweet here too that Benji Sales had. He said, "There's not one business model I think is going to win. Developers ask if I'm not a subscription or Game Pass, am I not viable anymore? That is absolutely not true. It's about our diversity of business models." And so this was on the topic of like basically if you're on Xbox, you need to be on Game Pass or you're not going to succeed. And he's like, no, that is false. People still buy games, and they're showing all these other stats. And we're going to talk about them. So this is from Benji Sales on Twitter. Game Pass stats from Microsoft at GDC. Subscribers play 40% more games after joining. Very true. This is me. Games on average see 8.3 times lift in players. Day one launches say a 3.5 times lift for a large publishing game. Indies 15 times increase the amount of people played. That is huge for indie developers. If you're an indie developer, you want to be on Game Pass just because you know lots of people are going to try your game because it's on Game Pass. Subscribers, this is me, spend 50% more. I've thought about it. I still buy games. I still buy games all the time. I'm patient because because of the money I'm saving, not having to buy Forza, not having to buy Halo, not having to buy Psychonauts, not having to buy all these other games throughout the year, Starfield. Because I don't spend my money on that, I wait for sales, and then I purchased The Messenger. I will purchase Resident Evil here. It's on sale. I will purchase, various other games when they're on sale. I'm spending more money because I've spent less on Game Pass, which is allowing me to spend more. And then indies see triple digit revenue growth if they are on Game Pass. So it is crazy. Like Tunic, I'm going to play Tunic. I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to that Tunic interview on Unlocked. Phenomenal. I highly recommend you guys go listen to that. Also, audience, please listen to that too. It's really good. So, Jose, what are your thoughts on the on Phil Spencer there describing, like, don't be afraid. Like, this is, I really like how he said, this is just one thing we offer. People still can buy games like they want to. Everyone thinks like, oh, if you get an Xbox, you have to be on Game Pass. That is not the case. Or you can buy games like Pony and just play what you want to play. Like, and you don't have to do Game Pass. So tell me what your thoughts are.
No, I mean I agree with you. I mean, on one element of this that I thought I liked was for months now we've been asking about like the numbers of Game Pass, and I mean, to be fair, I haven't done research into it. I'm sure some of that's out there. I just haven't found it. But this was kind of at our forefront about the model being very successful, and not to go all the way back like 6 months ago when we were saying like people were like, oh, Game Pass is going to fail. They can't make money. It's not sustainable. Like at its heart and its core, Microsoft was like, nope, that is false. And these numbers really prove that. And even it was a slight, like in the interview with Phil and Sarah, like a very slight tinge of like, I think like pride in his voice of when he said, we have a Game Pass system and it's great. We know others are doing it. He was really hinting at like Sony Spartacus stuff. That it feels good to be at the forefront. And he said, I hope everybody does. I like that model. I think one thing that really resounded for me with this interview is, at least from Phil's perspective, they're not trying to segment into one specific niche, whether that's console versus PC versus cloud gaming, whether that's Game Pass subscription versus buying games outright. I mean, realistically, what I think Phil is, and in the whole company, I should say, is really focusing on Sarah as well, that just they need to be flexible and they need to see where the market takes them and just adapt as they can and not put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. And they're really doing that. They're diversifying everything, which has been really cool. And to your point earlier, Dan, too, I just think it's been really cool that, the subscription model really does encourage you to explore in a way that you, in the history of gaming since I was a child, have never been able to do.
Never had the opportunity. Yep.
I think about when I was a kid and my mom would say like, all right, it's your birthday, Hito. Let's go to Toys R Us and you get to pick a game for your Super Nintendo. And I remember the wall. Literally, there was a wall in Toys R Us where all the cartridge, like the boxes were up and you take the little tickets, right? And so I remember as a kid, like it was overwhelming, but okay, I can only pick one. And so like, it was like a chess move. I have to find the right thing to pick. And most of the time we did pick great games. A lot of the memories I have with Chance were from literally pulling stuff out of those slots. But the downside was inevitably you would choose wrong at some point and at school find out like, oh my God, there's this better game. Well, I got to wait till I have $60, you know what I'm saying, to figure that out. And with Game Pass, it is really cool to know that like, if I play a game for an hour and I'm just like, I'm not into this, man, delete it and pick a new one. You know what I'm saying? And like they said in some of the stats, like a lot of the games I've really enjoyed have been indie games. They're not ones with lots of marketing and not ones that I would have necessarily known about, but I saw it. And because there's so much information, like trailers and screenshots and descriptions, like, oh, I'll give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think man, they had such foresight to do this. And it's really great to see that it's beneficial, not only to Microsoft, because that's important too. They need to make money too, but also to developers, to indie developers. It's a great time to be a Microsoft and Xbox fan. And I'm an Apple fan too, and I'm not hating on PlayStation. I like PlayStation too, but just it's such a great time to be in gaming right now. And it makes me so excited for the future.
Yeah, and Bubble Boy, I was just thinking like we're fortunate enough to be able we could just buy whatever game we want. Like we don't have to think about it, which we take for granted. Like I remember being in college and buying very few games because I couldn't do it. Can you imagine if Game Pass was an option for you? And think about it, in elementary, middle school, high school.
My GPA would have dropped to like
exactly
0.1.
We would have, but it's such a cool opportunity to have that much. So like, I can't even imagine how many of these Game Pass subs are probably for kids because it's like, gosh, I just need to do this, and my kids have a huge library of things to try out and play, and like how much money you're saving. So, Bubble Boy, what did you think of all that?
$15 a month, right? If you're a parent
10
who knows nothing about it,
it's
but
only 10.
Your kid's like, man, they're usually asking for $70 games every month. Like now it's that, and they stop asking me. Of course. Well, the first thing, and I hate to like diss on whatever developer asks, like if I'm not on subscription, am I not viable anymore? That just cracks me up. insert Elden Ring, right? Like it's clearly
Yeah,
like you
exactly.
don't have to be, right?
Yeah.
It's I just think it's like comical that someone would say that. And but then I think of the flip side of if because it's obviously not EA's not asking them that, right? And but maybe it's an indie developer. And am I not viable? No, but look at the data that shows. Do you want your game to be played? Do you want your next game to have more success because you put your first game on here? And like, I just can't imagine who is asking him that. Like, which developers are going to him with such little understanding of what's actually going on, that it's strange. And I almost wonder, like, did anybody actually ask him that, or is he still just
I
trying to
think he's
like?
just saying that.
I don't know. I mean, it's
You're
it.
right though. Like it is kind of like, am I not like, dude, come on, like, really? You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah, I
right.
think the most impressive or most popular game of the last decade, I think you could say, didn't do it, and they're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but From Software is a much. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yes,
We're talking
they're big.
indie,
They're a big
smaller
developer,
studios.
dude.
Yeah.
Like they
Oh, huge.
all the other Souls and Bloodborne games. Like the other part of it is, as an indie developer, even if you're not, I mean, money obviously drives us. Like that's, I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it's also your art, right? It's like we talked about in our last episode when we were talking about, what does the art belong to, the artist or the people? Like if I was a game developer and I put my heart and soul in there, like, yeah, I want to make money. That's the dream, obviously. But at the same time, I just want to show people something that I loved, right? That I poured myself into, and to be able to get that to 8 times or 15 times more people, awesome, right?
Well,
And like, I think that's
and that
incredible.
makes me think, I wonder, because I don't know the answer, but I just assumed they still get paid if their game goes to Game Pass. They get paid by Microsoft, right?
Correct.
So it's not like they're not getting paid. And yeah, exactly like you said, Jose. So here I get your they might be saying, hey, I'm betting on myself if I don't go with the subscription service, and I think our game's going to absolutely kill it. Or you could also say, I'm betting on myself and I'm going to put this first one on subscription. I'm going to get the exposure and a little bit of money so that I can put that towards the next game that's going to be even bigger. And if that just keeps happening, then maybe Microsoft will acquire us and we'll make all the money we could have ever wanted, right? Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
such an odd argument against.
Yeah. And what you said, they get paid. Yeah. Sometimes they might get more money. They probably do get more money to be put onto Game Pass than if they would have just released it, and what their sales from on the Xbox just through the store. Like we try to read new releases coming to Game Pass. I'm like, if you don't if have that kind of exposure on other podcasts or other marketing, like how are people going to know about your game if it's released? Like, sure, there's a new releases tab, but yours could be all the way at the bottom of like 50 releases that week, and no one's going to know about it. Or at least Game Pass, hey, this is new to Game Pass. There's these 4 games. You're going to get exposure, and clearly the data is backing that up. That 15 times,
Yep.
like that's shocking to me. And you're right, like they're going to get paid. Maybe it's not as much as they would have made in sales, but what if it kills and people start talking like, dude, this game's awesome. Check it out. Check it out. People try it on Game Pass. Maybe they download DLC, or maybe they're like, hey, I really like this. I just want to buy it. And that's what people do. I've bought games that I played on Game Pass just because I wanted to show support and I want to own it. So to me, if you're a small developer, it just seems like a win-win to be on Game Pass. But we all know we're just Game Pass simps, so we can move on. Jose, before I let you move it to you on anything else you want to talk about, the last quote that I thought was funny was Phil saying, maybe I play, my console or at home, or maybe I start streaming a game at work, although I would never do that. I was like, oh, Phil, we all know you're gaming at
You
work. I
dog.
just thought it was, it was funny. So I actually should try streaming at work, but I don't know, the Wi-Fi, the APS is probably already checking out my Twitter feed when I'm surfing the net. So Jose, any closing thoughts on the video or anything we didn't really talk about?
I mean, I think overall it was great. Like it is definitely worth 22 minutes of your time, because it's just it is truly a pretty candid conversation, and at times it's heady. I mean, they definitely get into some of the like very specific world of running a video game company that's like well above our heads, even as like video game interest people. But the one other thing I just wanted to quickly touch on, just mentioning really, is he mentioned in his interview that they really understood the power of bringing people together in COVID, right? Because people were stuck working at home, and like while that was fine and it was really cool that we had the tools to do that, right, to work remotely, people just miss some of the like the cultural pieces of working together. And so I'm curious to see what that's going to mean. Like I couldn't tell from what he said whether he was insinuating that they were going to look at trying to bring more people back in, because again, it creates that like camaraderie and community with your thing, or if they were really going to try this like hybrid system, because I'm sure there's pros and cons to both. And, you know, just as a company that's doing pretty well for itself right now, I'd be curious to see what that looks like. That's just more of an interesting thing for me. But overall, the interview was great. I agree with what you said. I definitely got that sense that they're grooming Sarah to be the next Phil, which would be great. Because for some, in case you are not into like the the business side of video games, like we monitor and stuff like that, Sarah Bond is a black female. And it's worth just noting that in the sense, like as a minority myself, like I think that's incredible that we're talking about arguably one of the biggest video game companies in the world, who that might be their top player, like right now or very soon. And I think that's just really cool. Like I was actually talking with my mom about this today, that just video games, they still have a lot of way to go. They're not perfect by any means. We clearly still have the stuff with Blizzard and, you know, like there's lots of issues in the industry, but it is incredible because I'm sure even 10 years ago, it looked very different. 5 years ago, it probably looked very different. So I'm really excited to see that and what it means for the future. And as the father of 2 daughters, I just think it's not that they're necessarily going to go into video games, but I can always hope, baby. That'd be awesome. So that was just those are my last thoughts, man. It was a great interview.
No, great point. And I love talking about Sarah Bond. And you're right, we probably should mention that, you know. And it's such a good point though, Jose, because you're right. I couldn't imagine telling me in like elementary school or middle school, hey, the next person who's going to be the leader of Nintendo is going to be a black woman. I'd be like, are you like as sad as that is to say, like, really? Like, first of all, girls play video games, you know, like that would have been my
What?
initial reaction. But like it is very cool. And like you said, to show our girls and daughters and kids, like you can do whatever you want. And it's so cool to see Bond up there basically being groomed to that. And we mentioned it before. They showed their leadership when they were talking about taking over Activision, and I did notice like it was very diverse. So shout out to Microsoft. I really feel like they're doing a great job hiring diversely over there. I mean, even with Satya Nadella, like he's an Indian man. Like that's very cool to see the diverse leadership there at Microsoft. So unlike some other companies, they actually really do seem to focus on that diversity. Moving
Yeah, to walk the
on to
walk.
the next, exactly, to the next story. And I don't know who put this in there, but thanks for I didn't see this one. I'm guessing Bubble Boy. Halo Infinite Xbox boss discusses high-level staff departures, and this is coming from Eddie McCutch over at GameSpot. Sorry, sometimes the momentum of projects is going one way and the person has a vision that's going the other way. Xbox Game Studios boss Matt Booty has commented on the many changes to senior leaders on Halo Infinite's development team, saying turnover is natural in a field like game development. Speaking to the New York Times, Booty discussed the departures of creative director Tim Longo and executive producer Mary Olson, as well as former studio head of FPS Chris Lee. There's always going to be turnover of leaders. It's inevitable, Booty said. He adds, sometimes the momentum of the project is going one way and that person has a vision that's going the other way. And then Microsoft veteran, the article continues, Joseph Staten stepped in to take over Halo Infinite's development team after Lee left. And following Lee's departure, Phil Spencer had said he believes turnover in a creative field like game development is a good thing. I don't have any specific concern about 343. I actually think in the long run, turnover is a healthy thing because we want people who are really motivated by the things they are working on. So Bubble Boy, what did you exactly want to point out or bring about this?
Yeah,
Is
so
this just
it's
going along
and
with
it
like the initiative and turnover
well,
issue?
I put it on there at first because I was like, wait, what's happening? And then I realized it's actually a really old article.
Yeah,
It
it
was
says
back from
November.
November 22nd,
But
but I was like, that's weird
I
because it
will
was at
point
the
out though,
top of the
Chance,
list there.
tying into
Go
this,
ahead.
the head multiplayer designer also just left like a week or two ago.
Um,
And that I
and
was like pretty
so
shocked about because I follow him and tweet him. He's liked a few of our things, and I was kind of bummed
yeah,
because I was like, you guys nailed it. But you know,
yeah.
uh, So go ahead.
The part that jumped out to me, it's really funny because it's actually the paragraph that you skipped.
Oh, sorry.
Which no, it's fine. Which says Booty's comment is intriguing to think about, but it doesn't include any specifics about a different direction for Halo Infinite that might have been considered during development. GameSpot has followed up with Microsoft in an attempt to get more details. So I was curious, like what I thought would be interesting to ask you both is, what do you think that other direction might have been? Like what especially after the game has come out, we've played other things, we've seen other things fail miserably. What could that other direction have been? And I wonder, do you think those people that took off because they didn't like the direction, if they were like, oh, okay, maybe we were wrong?
I would think that maybe they were going to try to do more of what Halo was. Maybe keep it more to the campaigns we were used to. And I am very happy with how it turned out to be the open world. I'm very happy with the idea that this is just going to be a live service game and we're going to get DLC expansions down the road. Maybe they wanted to be like, hey, this is just a one game and we're done. And then we have to make another Halo, what would it be? 7, right? Or 5, 4, 5, 6. Is that
It would
right?
have
5,
been
6,
7.
7. If this was a trilogy, like maybe that's one thing I can think of. And then I think were these the same guys who promised like who are or they maybe had said that campaign co-op was going to be there at launch. Clearly, either way, Chance, I'm glad that maybe these head guys are gone because I feel like Joseph Staten was the best thing that could have happened to Halo, and I'm so thankful he's there now. And it seems like they do have clear vision and they do have a plan. And yes, it sucks that things are not coming out as fast or as competently as they should be right now. But I feel like we're in the right path, and so I'm actually kind of glad these guys are gone. Jose, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't have anything a lot different. One thing it makes me think of is, remember when that first trailer released that was like underwhelming and everybody was kind of like, ooh, that doesn't make me excited about Halo because it just didn't look that high res and stuff like that. I wonder if that was related to it. I mean, I wonder if they were really just kind of, I don't want to say phoning it in. I don't think they were phoning it in, but maybe they were just doing something pretty like a basic step up, and this team was saying like, no, we need to go big and hard and the full way out. And so, in that way, maybe it's a good thing. The other part I just wanted to mention about the article itself, it was the only thing I had, was it's very interesting to me to think about leaders leaving frequently as like a good thing, because that's so different than the industry that the three of us are in, right? Like in our industry, a leader is everything. And you need time to build vision and to build capacity, especially in education. And so if you were to have a different principal every year, oh my God, that would be maddening. Chance, sorry. That'd be very hard because you need that leadership, you need that consistency, because otherwise you feel like you start 10 new initiatives every year and you never see any fruit from them. But in the gaming thing, I think it was really impactful what you actually read the quote, Dan, where he said like, you don't want someone working on something they're not passionate about, because then that doesn't come through in the game. And I think that's very insightful. I think that's an interesting way to think about it. And I wonder at the same time what is it like to be a developer, a coder, let's say, where you keep getting new bosses every year or every 6 months. Is that a good thing because you get like passion and ideas, or is it frustrating because you're like, dude, I spent 6 months on this thing and now you're just going to drop it? Like, I see both sides of the coin. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting look into this industry because I don't know anything about it in that sense. But I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know. Chance, what were your thoughts about the way that the Halo could have gone? What did you think? I don't have anything there.
My first thought was that I figured it had something to do with the campaign co-op, or the not co-op, right? And that they're like, well, that's career suicide if we don't make it some sort of massive like 4-player, if not just 2-player kind of thing. And I could see that having been really contentious before it had been released, and then obviously we got what we got, and I don't think anybody was upset with the campaign. Well, I'm sure people were, but the campaign absolutely delivered. So
Yeah, and it got favorable reviews. Hands down, 343's best work yet. So whatever happened, it looks like it all happened for the better. And like I said, I'm so happy Joseph Staten is there, and it seems like they're on the right path. So I'm incredibly thankful for Halo Infinite. I'm sad, yes, that content isn't coming as quickly as people think it should be, but all things considered, we could be Battlefield 2042 right now, you guys, or Call of Duty Warzone, where we've had like 3 maps in 3 years, and one of them really wasn't a big change. Remember when they went back to 1984, Jose? I haven't played much Warzone at all, so
Nope.
um, I think Halo overall the gameplay is fun. I jumped in last week, did all of the event, the SWAT or sorry, Tactical Slayer stuff, got some cool armor. So I look forward to season 2 and to seeing this game grow. Thank you 343 and everyone there. Moving on, let's go into our quick stories here. These are just little tiny bits, kind of like the old PlayStation. Shout out to Bubble Boy, a proud Patreon of PS Trophy Room. Love hearing his name. I'm not gonna lie. Chance, you can take this one over because I have zero interest in Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So, Bubble Boy, tell us what you wanted to point out about Tiny.
Just that it's coming out, and I think it's another example of like I'm still buying games. I'm buying games that I don't
Wait,
have
you
to
are
at
buying
full
this?
price. Yeah, I pre-ordered it like, gosh, when was that? I can't even remember now. Forever ago, when I had like $600 worth of GameStop money, and I like just didn't know what else to get, and I think I got
Is this physical or digital?
physical so I can trade it
Okay,
back in
okay,
right
okay.
away.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I'm excited. It looks like I know nobody that I know you two, but I don't think anybody that even listens to this cares much about Borderlands. But I've really enjoyed those games, and 3 looked really cool, but was not great. And I've seen a few reviews that said like they took everything great about 2 and the DLC from 2 and updated some of the graphics and stuff like 3 had, but threw out not everything that was crappy because the maps and the user interface is still a little clunky, but it's some of the funniest games I've ever played. So
Did you play the Telltale one?
I didn't. That's the only one I
You
have.
need to play that. I don't even know if you can buy that now, actually, now that I think about it. It
Yeah,
might
I
have been
don't know.
delisted.
I don't know.
Chance, that was good. And I'm not a Borderlands guy. That was
Yeah.
good. So
And when they are good, they are really, really good. And Tiny Tina is one of the best parts of it. There was a DLC with Borderlands 2 that was like a Dungeons and Dragons version, and this is just like a spin-off that's a full game of that. And I'm excited. It'll be a perfect, like, not what's the word? Well, change definitely, but a perfect like
palette cleanser
yes, exactly.
from Elden Ring.
For Elden Ring.
We'll talk about that when we get to the games we play. So shout out Tiny Tina's. I think is it out or is it come out?
Tonight, so it's coming in the mail, so I'll get it tomorrow.
Okay,
But
and
I won't
I will. Maybe we'll
play
talk
it.
about the reviews of it or impressions next week. And this one, thank you, Bubble Boy, for sending this, guys. There is a spring sale right now at the Xbox Gear Shop. Go get some sweet Xbox swag. I'm looking through it right now. That Battletoads one, might have to snag that.
Right.
And there's some cool stuff in here. Or that gray Series X shirt. I kind of like
So,
that. That's kind of trendy.
well-
I kind of like it. I'm gonna spend like $50. I'm just
No, stop. You're stealing my thunder because I gotta
Okay,
quiz
okay.
Jose on this one. No, you're okay. I gotta quiz Jose because I have played. To this day, I still continue to play this game with Cora. Do you remember eating cereal or pancakes growing up together? What we used to do with magazines. That was appropriate. And I'm sorry.
It's like, whoa,
Do you
whoa,
remember?
whoa, whoa.
So we would get like
like
a
a-
toy. Sorry, we would get like a Toys R Us magazine or a Sears magazine, and we'd flip the pages, and we each would whoever could point to
get to
the thing
choose.
they wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, like the fastest. And
Oh,
so if
that-
there was like a Nintendo and then like some shoes, like if you pointed to the Nintendo, you got the Nintendo, and other guy got stuck with the shoes. So what's the first thing you're pointing to on here? Dan already named some of his. Have you looked at it yet?
Yeah, I
Jose,
did. I actually,
yeah.
back when it was full price, I actually really like that the sunset tee that's like charcoal with like
Yeah.
it's like a pink hue. I think that's a super dope shirt. And I was thinking about a hoodie, but it sounds like I may be getting a hoodie here shortly anyway, so I might hold off on that. Plus the old Xbox logo tee. I always loved that green X. I just wish it was on the front. I don't love that it's on the back. So I'm still kind of thinking about that. But no, dude, there's some super dope items in here. And
I really like the Gears of War throw blanket. There's something about it that it's like, wow, I like that. That's
you got to keep your
it's the only
legs warm when you're
blanket on
gaming
there
in
too.
the
Yeah,
basement. I gotcha.
exactly.
Yeah, I like that sunset tee, Jose. Might have to snag that if you're not going to snag that. And I also liked. I gotta find this blanket. I don't know where that is. What
Yeah, we
about
could
the
both buy the
Xbox?
tee.
Very
for the
bottom
record.
of the first page.
Okay, what about the Xbox icon, the electric volt tee with the Xbox logo plus like the controller
You
outline.
like that Volt controller?
Where
You
the
almost bought
guy
it.
is it the one where the guy's looking to the left or the right?
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I do like that one.
And
There's a
then,
lot of good stuff on here, and typically horrifically priced.
well,
Maybe
I
I
don't
shouldn't
think
say
it's that
typically.
bad.
I
They're
shouldn't say
usually,
typically.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty well priced for some things on here
Are
right
there
now.
any free
Oh,
shipping
dude, that
codes?
that Halo Gravity Hammer, $17. That's a cool shirt. Like, I'm definitely good. The Needler tee. Oh my gosh, I got screwed over, you guys. $18 for my Needler tee.
That's
That
yeah.
is
yeah.
worth it right there. Xbox green skateboard deck. Come on, I think so.
What's this Battlefield 22 hoodie? They're giving them
I-
to you? Just kidding. That's a joke. They're not doing that.
Wait, they're sending a free year of Game Pass with it.
I do like the Marcus blanket. I liked
That's
Marcus
cool,
in
huh?
Gears of War 4. I
yeah.
think they did a great job. Speaking of,
Yeah.
I responded to a tweet some guy, I don't know if you guys saw this, who said who are the Microsoft's best like first party, and I said Playground and Coalition. They've done nothing but bangers, and they'd make great games. I think Coalition really is super underrated. They've done just because it's Gears, and people are like, oh, that's just Gears. Gears 4, that was a great, and 5. They were good games story wise. So anyway, shout out to the spring sale, you guys. Definitely check it out. Gear.xbox.com. There really is some cool stuff, and I'm gonna spend $60 easy. I'm gonna buy like 3 or 4 things. Last quick story. And Bubble Boy, I'll shoot this over to you too as well. Elden Ring player speed runs game in less than 25 minutes. This is coming from Game Rant, setting a new world record. And the player, I believe, looks like. Do you know the name of the streamer there, Bubble Boy? It looks Hazeblade.
Hazeblade.
Yes,
Sorry, my internet is
it's
just
okay. Yeah, I think it says Hazeblade.
screwing
But
the
like,
pooch right now.
wasn't he
Sorry,
using
I had it
the-
up earlier.
It's okay. Didn't he use the stomp and like I think I
The zip
watched part of
glitch.
this and he glitches through it. Like I saw the one where he beat it under an hour and it seemed like he was at least getting to most of the bosses. So Bubble Boy, what did you want to point out about this? Just that we're all
Well, so
extreme
yeah,
noob-
like, does it count when you like? I don't know. This feels very different to me than the like. Does beating the game on easy mode count? Yes, it absolutely counts. Does glitching your way through it count? I guess.
Well,
I don't
here's the
know.
thing. So
it
so
feels
I don't
different.
know. Chance, do you know anything about speed running? Like when it says any percentage, so that means anything goes, right? So all these glitches, skip as much as you want, whatever you want, get through.
See, I
to
guess
the
I
end,
don't
right?
know
And
much
then they
about
have
speed. Like, I guess
so
not.
then they have ones where it's like 100%. They got every main boss, or like their categories where they break it down. Like you must get these bosses, or you must get these items. And so this is one where it's anything goes. This guy glitched the system 25 minutes and impressive, yes, but he
Okay.
maybe only would have
Okay.
beaten like 2 bosses. Like that's what could have happened. Jose, any thoughts on the speed running? Are you a speedrunning fan? Do you guys ever watch Games Done Quick? Shout out to Games Done Quick. It's pretty
Nope.
cool, but there are some crazy glitches, Chance, for these any percentage runs where it's like anything goes.
I mean, look, I respect what they're doing. I do, because I definitely can't do it. Like I hate being that person that's like, that's stupid. And if I can't do it myself, I just don't understand it. Like I don't play the games to do that. And I'll be honest, like I told you last time, I'm not that good of a gamer. Like I just know that I'm not. Like it's even that one, that clip that came out real early when Elden Ring dropped, where it was the dude who with no armor kills Market in like 10 minutes and like never gets hit. And I was like, dude, I played him for like 6 hours. Like, and I barely beat him. Like that is really frustrating to be in a kind of a silly way. I just don't understand it, man. Like I want to beat Elden Ring because I want to beat it and be able to say like, yep, I have that. That's on my done list. But I also then just want to move on. Like I'm not looking for these like ways to enhance the system and cut corners to get faster. Like I just won't do that. So I don't understand. Good, I guess good for him, man. I don't know how. I wonder how it makes the developers feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched.
Oh, yeah. Did you watch the one where on IGN where like the guys sped run Halo Infinite? It is really cool to hear the developers react to it. Highly recommend it, you guys. IGN does a series where the developers react to
I heard
speedrunners.
them too.
It is so cool to hear them be like, oh, how are they, like them being blown away by some of the glitches that people find are like, oh, we thought we fixed that, or clearly we missed that, or, you know, so
That's the coolest thing to come from these.
Yeah.
Is those.
yeah. Go ahead,
right?
Jose,
Because
sorry.
like it doesn't. I can watch it and be like, oh, I guess. But the person that made it to be like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay,
I highly
that's
recommend
really
that one, you
cool.
guys. If you haven't seen
Yeah,
the Halo Infinite one, watch it.
I've watched pieces of it. Like I think I had it up at work one day when I was like waiting on a bunch of kids, and just in between them, and it didn't go like I had hoped, but.
Jose, anything left, or are you good?
No, I'm good, man. I'm sure someone will beat it though. I mean, that's the crazy part. Like,
Yeah.
that's what's crazy about speedrunning is like it's amazing until someone finds another glitch, and then you're like, they
Yeah.
just cut their time in half. That's insane, you know?
I got sucked down this rabbit hole of watching speedrunners, you guys, because I remember that's one of the first things I actually got interested in on Twitch. I was like, this is actually kind of cool because I was watching Super Metroid, Link to the Past, these classics that I loved, and I was like, I had no idea there was a missile there or there was a power up, or I didn't even think about doing that kind of jump or that kind of move. You do learn. It is, Jose, where I think what is cool about it is you do learn things where like I could do that and that would, allow me to get this or save some time with this. But you're right. Is it something I want to master and spend hours playing the same game over and over and over again until you're the best? And what are you going to get out of it? Maybe some sort of medal and Guinness Book of World Records or
No,
something.
not
So,
even that.
or
You get
No,
an,
they
you
don't
get
even
invited to
bother
games
because they
done
just
quit.
know someone. Yeah, they're like, yep,
Well,
someone's gonna beat it.
maybe
So
a Twitch audience. It's very cool. I respect it, but you're right. I want to play some other games. So that has been the news we wanted to talk about this week. If you have any news topics, please send it our way at Xbox. Record this across social media, guys. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Chance, let's save that for a warm up for next week. Let's just go over some things we've been playing. So, Jose, give us an update on Elden Ring. You've been playing it. Where are you at? And tell us why you're ready to be done with it. Has it soured you? Are you at the point where like I got to be
no.
done with this, or are you still loving it just as much as when you first walked into Limgrave?
No on both of those questions. Like it's not soured it for me. I still love the game. I still genuinely enjoy it. And occasionally, and we'll talk about this in a second, like I was unable to beat a couple bosses, and so I needed help. And so I would go to YouTube and find some stuff, and I'd be like, oh, go get this gear and go try this. And I had to do a couple of those. And so even doing those, I had a great time. Like I like just exploring in the dungeon, and it's fun. And like even though I know exactly where I'm going because of the tutorial, like it's enjoyed it. So I, as of about 24 hours ago, was stuck on what was his name? I just said it before we started recording. The Black Knight, the
Malekith.
Thank you.
Oh, was he the one when you went underground? Is that the guy that I'm thinking of, where he
No, no.
transforms from the
No,
clergy
that's
guy?
Moog.
The
it is the clergy
guy.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's the
transforms the
clergyman.
second
Oh,
form.
but yeah.
Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble with
Yeah.
him too, Jose. I'm not
Because
gonna lie.
he
That
was
one
just
Beat him on the
so-
first try.
He was so
First try.
fast.
Yeah.
And my character
First try,
doesn't
okay,
have
cool.
that much dex, and so like I struggled for a long time. And there were a couple times where I got him to like 25% and I got excited, and then and I die again. So that was frustrating, but I did beat him last night. I did the same thing as Chance. I literally took a victory lap around my basement by my house, like hand up like this to the sky, like I'm Michael Jordan, to when I beat him. And then after that, I did pretty good. I beat Mog like first try. Kind of thought I wouldn't, and I did. And then I got to Gideon, who's like the guy right before kind of the end, and I beat him on like the third try. And I just beat Godfrey this afternoon, and now I'm on the final boss. And I thought about stopping to go play Millennia, but here's the problem. And I want to play other games. That's part of the problem. Not because I hate Elden Ring. I want to actually try that Crusaders 3 Kings or whatever. I really do want to try that after we talked about that last week. And do you remember that game a couple weeks ago that was the Last Kids on Earth or something like that you said wasn't that great? It's actually a TV show, and I just found out that Penelope loves that show, and so I want to play with her. Like that's just a great dad-daughter moment.
Of course.
So anyway, I have these other games I want to play, and I know I can do that. I know there's not actually anything preventing me from doing that, but my skills are real tight right now. And I feel like I need that on the final boss. And so I'm just like, I got to grind through that. And then I'll pause Elden Ring for a while and I'll come back. I do want to play Millennia. I do want to go explore some of the other bosses. I might try a different build next time. Like I definitely see myself coming back. The replayability is there for me, but I want to do some other stuff. So yeah. So right now I'm literally at the very final boss of the game. I only played them one time this afternoon and then I got destroyed. So I was like, okay, I'll walk away and come back later. But that's where I'm at right now. And then, like I said, as soon as I finish, I probably will check out a couple of the ID at Xbox games real quick. And then when I'm ready, maybe in a week or so, jump into Cyberpunk and see how that goes. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah. I'll go next because that's kind of what I want to talk to with Cyberpunk. So after I beat Elden Ring, I'm not glad I wanted to jump back in, you guys. I really did. I was like, do I do another playthrough? And I've looked up other builds. I'm like, maybe I want to do like a two-handed sword guy, go all strength, and like I don't want to do magic. I like being in the combat, Like I thought about doing magic, but I was like,
Okay, I'm in the combat for the record.
I know,
as the
but you know what I
magician.
mean, up close and personal. Sorry,
Abracadabra, I'm
not
dead.
ranged, not ranged. Okay, and so, but I was like, no, And then I thought about it, but I was like, I really have watched a lot of videos, but for some reason I can't do it. I'm like, I need to take a break. I really, really need to take a break. So finally, I committed. I started this before Elden Ring, and I am proud to say that I have completed New Super Lucky's Tale, and this is my tweet. New Super Lucky's Tale complete, 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements, and my 108th complete game according to True Achievements, including DLCs, where I've gotten every achievement. Hardest achievement, beating that cat on the dance floor without losing any health, you guys. Oh, I literally did this for like an hour the other night, and it was hard. 0.9% of players have gotten it, worse than some of the Elden Ring bosses. Overall, fun game and great for kids. Colorful, love the level diversity. Guys, I recommend. Is it worth your time? Do you should play $60 for it? Probably not, but is it worth it on Game Pass or for 20 bucks or less? Absolutely. If you have kids, it is a fun platformer, simple, positive. Like I said, great for kids. So I highly recommend New Super Lucky's Tale. That's the first game I got. And then, like Jose said, I'm torn between starting Cyberpunk or going to Tunic, and I don't know what to do.
I'd go Tunic if I were you, dude.
Oh well, here's the thing I'm concerned about with Tunic is it's a shorter game, but they're saying it's a lot of like difficult similar combat to what I just experienced in Elden Ring. I'm really interested in Cyberpunk, but I'm
It's
afraid
time.
exactly.
It's time for Cyberpunk.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's time you're going to play a lot of Cyberpunk and it's hours and hours and another
No.
big,
I'm saying
massive
it's
game.
time. It is, but it
Chance
doesn't
said
have to
100
be.
hours into Cyberpunk.
It doesn't have to be either, though. If you would like to make it quick, you can make it quick. If you just play the main story, it's
Yeah, I hear the main story is
take-
actually not that long. That's what she said.
and that's it. If you wanted just all the Keanu Reeves stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so but for some reason, Chance, I don't know why. I can't commit. So who knows what I'm going to play next, but it's a weird feeling. I'm not gonna lie. After getting 1,000 out of 1,000 on Elden Ring, it's a weird, like committing so much time, and it was such a great game. It's similar. Again, I keep drawing it comparisons to Skyrim. Like I even thought, like, do I play Ghost of Tsushima? Do I do Mass Effect Legendary Edition on PlayStation? I don't know. I'll
Were you
update
like Ricky
guys.
Bobby, where you're just like, I don't know what to do with my hands after the
Yeah.
game is over?
Seriously, it is weird. So, but boy, tell us where you are in Elden Ring. You're close. Wait, did you
I'm.
tell me?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Did you beat it? I can't remember. I can't remember if we talked about this.
No, and so I'm at the first or the second time you fight Godfrey, so the first of the final bosses, right? And again, I love the game. People know how I feel about the game. But the first time I walked in and saw that Godfrey was the final boss, I had to obviously I didn't pause it because you can't pause it, but I wanted to pause it and be like, who is this? Who is this? How is this the final boss? Like, I don't know who this is. I don't care who this is. Not to say that I cared about many of the others, but I just think about how epic that Radon fight was and how amazing that was and how he was part of the trailer, right? And that takes me back to like, God, someone needs to make a good trailer one of these days that actually encompasses what the game's all about.
Yeah, and even the book lady was kind of epic too. Like that was a pretty cool,
was a
very
cool
cool
fight.
fight.
I like that one.
You
Very
know, and the
different,
fire giant
yeah.
was cool. You're right. It is kind of anticlimactic. The more I think about
Nope,
it.
forget that fire giant. He is not okay.
Yeah. And so I don't know. And that was part of why I was like, no, you know what? I want to go try Melania because I know exactly who she is. She's mentioned often. And it's funny though, because she keeps it showed me. It's because I died to her. God, who knows how many times? I think in total I spent probably about 6 hours trying to beat her.
Yeah, see, I only took
Spent
like
all
one
my
chance. I'll throw that at you after your one on.
spent all my furl calling fingers, all of them, all my rune arcs, everything I owned, trying to beat her. And finally was just like, no, you know what? I'm gonna use Tish or Titch or whatever his name is, and I'm gonna do this on my own. Probably about I don't know, 45 minutes today, and finally did it. And I just was like, I did it.
It is done.
But yeah, but for one, 7% of people on Xbox
I know.
have that achievement. I was like, whew,
What?
that is high.
Yeah.
For the hardest boss in Elden Ring,
Yep.
7%. I will say, because Cordy Morgs was asking me, where does she rank in all of these Soulsborne's
hear it.
games? And, well, I don't know, but
Well,
I
yeah,
know
'cause-
she absolutely wasn't as hard as the final boss of Sekiro.
Really?
Not even
Some
that
people
was
are saying
like a
she's
week.
the hardest.
Oh, it took me like a week to beat the Sekiro guy, and he had like 4 stages. I don't remember being as. I was significantly more excited when I beat him, and felt like accomplished. And maybe part of it too, there was a lot of story to it, and I felt compelled about winning, right? Not just like I did it. But the thing that was funny about Melania that I noticed. So every time she kills you, which was a lot for me, she says she says her name, Melania, right? And then she says, I'm the Blade of Mikola. And it just showed me like, I don't know if it was George R. R. Martin or not, or just Miyazaki or whoever it was that was writing it. I think they're really into like MAGA America, right? Because like they got the America, Statue of America, and then they got the somebody named Melania, and then the Mikola that sounds like Michelob. And I was just like, this is a person who must have like fallen asleep with their headphones on some like Breitbart news station or something,
Deep.
and woke up, was like, I know what we need to name every single thing in this game, and it's gonna sound like it's some
That's interesting.
yokel
I had
from
not
the
known that.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you hear her say
or it
it
could
a
be
lot.
completely, coincidence.
Oh, I'm sure it has. Oh, it's absolutely a coincidence. I was just like, that's funny.
Yeah, but
because I can't not say Murica every time I see a
See,
statue.
I've never
of
thought of it like
Marica.
that at all. Because
I
America's
can't
not spelled the same way. Anyway,
No, and neither is Melania, or it's not pronounced the same either. And Mikola
Yeah.
and Michelob, that's
anyway.
it. So that's where I'm at.
As far as the story goes, you're right. I have. Who is it? Who cares? The game is fun. It's awesome. Still don't know.
Imagine if it had one. Imagine
Oh, yeah.
how
Oh, just a
engrossed
little
we
bit.
would be right now.
Just something. Oh, that's what I wanted to point out. Remember how we were so concerned, and we talked about this when we first started the game, about the lack of direction. I will say that with the minor sites of grace pointing to some things, I did kind of figure out where to go without it, and I didn't really have to look up where to go next exactly. And if I did look something up, I just wanted to make sure I was, going in the correct order for certain achievements. But like other than that, like I think if you have some gaming experience, you'll kind of figure, like Dr. Disrespect, he's been streaming it. And he's kind of been going in the right path and doing it on his own. And I don't think he's played any Souls games either, but he's figuring it out. So as far as like, yes, there's very little directions, but do I think you could get through this game and follow the sites and be perfectly fine without looking up anything? Yes, I think the game kind of points you in the area. But if you want to do all the extra stuff, or if you want to skip that one boss and take the lift up, which you can do, which I did, and I didn't even realize I had to go back to get that one boss, whereas you're climbing up, Snelling, I think you totally could play it. I think, yes, there is no direction, but that's not really what matters. You can just ride past a bunch of things, level up, you'll get to certain bosses, and yeah. So what do you think, Jose, on that? Or do you think it needs just a little bit more?
No, I mean, it's hard to tell because honestly, pretty early in the game, I was looking stuff up. So it's hard to say that I did it entirely on my own or that I could have done it on my own. I just think that I think here's the truth. If I didn't have other games to play, I probably would have gone slower, if I'm being very honest with you. But the fact that I have a couple of really pretty imminent ones that I want to get to, and I think I'm only at like 65 hours right now or something like that. I just,
Hey, you're flying through.
I know.
And that's impressive
Yeah.
to be where
In
you're at for
hindsight,
that. Yeah.
it is flying
Yeah.
through, but it's just one of those where like that's interesting to me, And if I really had more time, like I think back to when I was a kid and I could only buy one game at a time, and I just played the crap out of that game, I probably would have loved something like this because I would have discovered every dungeon and every cave and every boss and every armament and all that stuff. And I don't feel cheated that I didn't. I don't even feel sad that I didn't, but I think that's interesting. I just wanted to also mention that video you sent about Dr. Disrespect. I thought was so hilarious because he's like, oh, just
So
two
funny.
guards. Easy. I'll be right through this. And then it's like 2 hours later.
2 hours
He
later,
hasn't gotten through it.
27 deaths.
He stretched that a little bit, right? He was
I don't know. It just-
I don't know, man.
dude.
and I don't
Either
care,
way, yeah.
But
I-
like he was dying on
Maybe,
purpose a few
but
of those times.
Hilarious nonetheless. Shout out to Dr. Disrespect. He doesn't
I,
need us shutting up, but I thought I
Court's-
was laughing so hard. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and that reminded me, Cora and Ashley both enjoy watching all the fails, the epic fail videos too, because they've watched me, and then of course we have to kind of like, oh, Cora, I don't think that's what they said. They didn't say the F word. Sorry.
They said funk.
It cracks them up too. Just people being like,
Yeah, I watched one today. That was it. Plot who retweeted that one where this guy's got this one. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the man" or something like that, and he's like about to kill it, and then he gets annihilated. Like right after he's talking crap, and it was just I'll have to shout out to Nick. By the way, we should get him on the show. Tasteless Plot.
we talk. He's a busy man.
He's sorry, Jose. Any closing
John
thoughts
Madden.
on what we've
Just
been playing?
just one more thing. A couple of times on the bosses that like Malekith, like happened one time where I literally sent my final shot and it killed him and he was dead. And,
Yes,
but
I
he
had
was
that happen to
finishing
me.
his attack and I'm dying, and it happened multiple times with multiple bosses. Man, there are a few things sadder than that that I can imagine. Just like genuinely defeated.
Yeah.
But overall, despite that, and despite if selling, especially if you're listening to it, it's been a great game. Like for
it
not
has.
really being into the Souls universe, and I was kind of playing Dark Souls 3. For the record, I'm not going back to that after this. There's no chance in hell.
I agree. Yeah.
But dude, it's been fantastic, dude. And I know despite all the complaints about the patch and stuff like that, like I get it, and it's still been an awesome game. I've had lots of fun, and I'm sure there'll be more hours down the road as well. So overall, great things, and excited to move on.
Yeah, down the road, exactly. Last thing on, I just wanted to point out, Chance, I can buy you the full GTA 5 for you for $20. I can gift it to you if you want. It says, are you sure you
no,
can't just buy it for 20? I think it's only 20, Chance. It should be only 20 for you.
It says on there, whatever, I forget what I texted, however it reads, like
Are you sure you're looking at the right
requires
one?
purchase of game.
I can buy it
Yeah,
for
I
you
looked
for
at
20 is all I'm saying.
I looked at all three. No, you don't have to do that. I looked at because I don't have time is the thing. I would have gone back. I know I was complaining like it's 10-year-old game, whatever, but like I would have bought it if I didn't have 100 other things to play.
Well, then I'll buy it for Jose. I can buy it for you for $20, Jose, instead of the 40.
Yeah, he needs that.
Guys, let's close the show like we always do with the best food we had this week. And I'll go first for this one, gentlemen. Yesterday, had a great day of food before basketball. Got a little pregame carbs in. I had myself a junior Whopper with the kids. You guys are fools. Banned. Fully Bear banned for that one. Delicious. The Junior Whopper. Shout out Burger King. You make amazing burgers. And then, Jose, as much as I hate this Chipotle on Wadsworth, man, I went in at 8 o'clock, right? You're thinking, can't be that busy, right? People don't go get dinner then. Huge
Poppin'.
line. I'm
It's
waiting
poppin'.
it for 10, 15 minutes in line, just staying there like an idiot. I get up, and guess what happens, of course? The pollo asado chicken, there's barely enough for one. Allie wants to have it. So I'm like, can you put that chicken in a cup for
No
on
problem.
the
You
side
just get barbacoa. Problem
for
solved.
me? No. When I go to a place, I expect to get what is offered on the menu, Jose. So I got one normal scoop of that. Can't do that. Oh, can I do a double? No, because they're out. Okay, because I sacrificed that, gave it to Allie. So I'm like, you can just put a normal chicken on there. I wanted double the pollo asado, but since you don't have that, give me regular chicken. Hoping, he'd give me for free. No, charged me for the double chicken, even though they didn't have what I wanted. Regardless, guys, went home, ate my burrito, and it was delicious. It was incredible. I'm telling you guys, add the queso along with your green and your corn, and then some lettuce. No beans and rice. It'll change your life. You're getting so many flavors. You're not getting muddled in the rice or the beans. Don't waste your time with that.
I love the taste of beans. That's literally, I'm like 10% beans.
Well, okay. And then a side of guac. Then you get the big corn salsa and a small green. Mix those together for your chips and salsa and your guac. Phenomenal. Shout out to Chipotle Bear. I'm not going back to that one on Union though anymore. I can't. Every time I go, they deliver in the food. But that's just Chipotle. But every time it's not a good experience. So, Jose, what about you? What was the best food you had this week?
So this was not my best one since you brought it up. We had Chipotle today, for the record, and it's been since the pandemic has been over. It has been popping every time we go. And I had the pollo asado and it was delicious. But the one thing that was noticeable that I thought was hilarious was, so Victoria got off work like a normal time, but she had an FAC, like a Friday afternoon club drinks with her colleagues, and so the girls were with me. And she was like, just meet me at Chipotle at 5:15. And I was like, cool. So we got there at like 5:15 and like 5 minutes passed and the girls are just going bananas. And I was like, we're going in. Like, I'm not waiting. We got to go get food. And so we were in this long line and we were literally about to order. And I see Victoria pulling into the lot. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to just miss her. Because then she would have had to wait 20 minutes to get her food at that point.
You don't know her standard order, Jose?
No, I do, but sometimes she gets chicken and sometimes she doesn't. And so you're right. If she hadn't shown up, I was just going to order it with the chicken. You can pick it out, right? Old school. That was my plan if she hadn't shown up. But she showed up literally as the guy was like, "What do you want?" She was running in the door. So like it was just one of those clutch. Like my adrenaline was high and my heart pressure was not great. I'll be honest with you. Anyway, that's an aside. Best things I had this week. Two things. This week was my spring break, so I've been spending a lot of time with Penelope. She's on a break with me. Earlier this week, we went to Mile High Comics, which was really cool, way up north. It's a huge warehouse. I mean, overwhelming. Like, didn't even know where to start. And they had comics worth like $40,000 on the wall, which is crazy. They had an Infinity Gauntlet signed by Stan Lee and like half the cast of the movie, which was like incredible. Anyway, on the way home, she was like, "What should we get for lunch?" And I was like, we passed a Sonic. And after our conversation, I was like, let's pick up some Sonic. And so, dude, it was delicious. I just had the double cheeseburger, and I also got a coney dog, which was phenomenal. Penelope had a hot dog and loved it as well. So that was one thing. And then the other thing, this one was last night. We had some of Victoria's college friends came over for dinner, husband and wife, and she ordered pizza from Papa John's, and they have a green chili pizza right now. It's just cheese and green chili, and it is delightful. I have a couple more slices in the fridge right here, 2 feet from me. I'm going to be snacking on that as I go to try to fight the freaking Elden Beast after this. But it was good, man. So it's been a great week of eating. Not quite as good as Dan's last week, but it's been great nonetheless.
Sounds pretty dang good as well. But boy, close it off with the best food you had this week.
Yeah, big shout out to Daniel's boss, Mehran Ahmed, my former principal, and I love Ahmed, and obviously he's a huge fan of the show, so he'll hear this. But we went out to Katsu Ramen in Aurora, over off of like Iliff and Parker-ish, kind of, I don't know, somewhere over there, right? But it was absolutely incredible. I don't think I've been to a ramen place outside of Japan. I know. I just don't think that I've ever been to one. Where is there one? Do they have them in Green Mountain? Like,
I don't think
there's one in the Highlands. There's one in Rhino too.
The only one I've been to, Chance, was when I was in Hawaii, and I was blown away. I was like, this is incredible. That was also like a top-rated one in Waikiki. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, and I'm sure they're all over the place. I can't think of any, it was phenomenal. It was absolutely incredible. I had a curry ramen, and it was just amazing. And of course, the company was helped because Shannon and Liz were there. But man, Dan, you're both two lucky men to have bosses that are incredible. So.
Speaking of ramen, the best ramen I had was at the one in Rhino, and it was a chorizo ramen. It literally had
I'm sorry,
chorizo in it.
When you say
so good.
Rhino, did you mispronounce that? Because it's actually pronounced 5 points.
I don't even know.
You are correct. River North.
5 points.
Short Rhino
points.
it used to be 5 points, but it's now a
5
very
points.
hip art district, and they have a ramen place.
Yeah.
That's
Nothing
pretty dope.
hip about it. There are
Everything's
still
been
empty
pushed
liquor bottles
east.
strewn all over the place. 5 points.
Disagree. This has been Xbox Record This, episode 47. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, we truly appreciate you. My name is DaddyDWALLY. You can find me at DaddyDWALLY across all social media. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media, or write us up at xboxrecordthis@gmail.com. Chipotle Bear, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Chipotle_bear, or you can find me on Instagram at ChipotleBear. Hit us up, man. We always love chatting with the fans, and it's nice to see very slowly but surely our fan base grow, and hopefully that will continue as we get close to the 1 year mark, which is pretty exciting.
Very exciting. And Bubble Boy, where can people find you?
Bubble Boy and 7, almost nowhere, but definitely on Xbox. So
Very true. As always, gentlemen, see you online.
See you online.
see you online.
These nuts. Got him!
Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at DaddyDWALLY on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.